Boom. Okay, there we go. So mics are live. We are on screen here to the thousands around the world.
What up?
This is called Fly in Formation. My name is Doobyis. What I do is talk to artists across the country. I just keep knocking off names, trying to talk to everybody who matters, and trying to befriend people and learn a little bit from their artistry and their game, because there's so much to learn. And I've just been having fun soaking it up, man. So appreciate you being here with me, dude. How's it going? How you been?
I'm good, man. I appreciate being on. I don't think I've ever had the chance to actually have a convo with you, so this is cool.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man.
Yeah.
I don't imagine your day was quite as chill as mine was. I know you're out at a work camp someplace. You said you drove out there. How did that all go? The journey was safe?
Oh yeah. Good. Yeah. Roads were good. Everything's cool. I work in northern Alberta, so it's a lot of driving when we do come up to stay at the camp where the site is.
Right.
So my day was just straight up driving just to get here. Yeah.
And how long are you up there for now then? Is it 2 on, 1 off type thing? Or?
It's not too bad. It's like 8 on, 6 off.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty good considering how things used to be or how some shifts that are out there.
Yeah.
But this good work-life balance kind of thing for this kind of shift. So I'm not mad at it for sure.
Definitely, man.
Yeah, man.
So I was telling you there, I got a chance to listen through some of your albums, what you've got up on Spotify at least. You had the More Mr. Nice Guy EP, and then that was quickly followed up by the full-length No Magic.
No, other way around.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. No Magic was the first record I put out since 2012, really. So no Magic was the first kind of breakthrough of me starting to take it serious again. It's always been in me. I've always wrote and done all that, but that was the first time I actually released something to the public in the last decade, really. And then it was followed by the EP, More Mr. Nice Guy, after that. Yeah.
So can we start at the start? What were you doing before 2012? Were you still Jimmy Burnett, or were you...
No. So
different moniker?
2012 was the first time I actually, or 2011, 2012 was the first time I actually made a record and pressed up CDs and went on little tours and did things with it and pushed it as much as I could. I've always been making beats and rapping on street corners on Whyte Ave and meeting local guys that do it. But that was the first time I actually made something. And that album is actually on Spotify as well. It's called The Hindsight Genius. It's really old, this old shit, but it's cool. It's got a place in my heart, obviously. But
I recognize you spit a bar about being the Hindsight Genius on one of the albums I listened to today. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a little reference, a little throwback to that. But yeah, so then I've been doing it for a long time. Since I was 15, 16, I started making beats and actually messing with Fruity Loops and doing things. But that was the first time I actually put something out. And then after that period, life happens sometimes, As
it often does, yeah.
Yeah, dude. And it's kind of it's a long story, but in a nutshell, I did a lot of fucking around, a lot of traveling, a lot of fun was had, a lot of life experience, always still writing, always still, tapped into that, but just not publicly or not releasing anything or not really grinding at it in a way, but always still doing it. And then I got to a point where it was real bad, partying too much. I starting to develop a little problem with booze and that lifestyle.
Right.
And to the point where I just cut it. I went to a detox center because I'm drinking too much. I don't know what else to do. I need a reset. And this was just 3 years ago now. So since I've done that, I was I want to be, and by the way, I used to go by Jimmy Rhythm.
Jimmy Rhythm. Okay.
Yeah. Back in the day, that's how most people local cats will know me as. And basically I just kept the Jimmy. Everybody calls me Jimmy, but the rhythm felt outdated and it felt like the old me that I was growing away from.
Right.
And so Burnett is my actual last name. And my first name is Kyle.
Oh, okay. So it's not your government. That was one thing I was.
It's not my government.
Too.
No. My middle name is James, and everybody calls me Jimmy, so I just go Jimmy Burnett is just the moniker, the alias or whatever. But yeah, it used to be Jimmy Rhythm.
Dope, man.
But then, yeah, so then further, that was like 2022 is when I finally got like clean and sober, tail end of 2021. It's been about 3 years almost now, but
Yeah.
then I was like, you know, I want to get back to being who I am, like within hip hop, what I love to do. I want to make music again. I want to push it out. I want to use this to obsess over instead of the not as productive, to put it lightly, shit that I was doing before, right? So yeah, then that's when I put out No Magic.
That's beautiful.
And that's the whole concept. Yeah, that's the whole concept of that record, really. It's like there's no magic pill that you can take to get better. You just got to sometimes pull your fucking pants up and look yourself in the mirror. There's no easy way to do anything that's going to be worth anything in the long run, right? Yeah.
Was it kind of like, were you tired of, because you said you were running around on Whyte Ave rapping and stuff like that, and I can imagine how that kind of would merge with the party life, you know, just being on Whyte Ave all the time, right?
Yeah, man. That's sorry if I'm interrupting you. I like to talk.
No, it's all good, man. Go ahead. Yeah.
That's totally where it started, for sure, right? Because that's like, I never even used to drink a lot when I was younger. I smoked weed. And like when I first was starting to make beats and stuff, I never even drank. When I was like 16, 15-ish. I never got into like the get the fake ID before you can drink kind of thing. We would just be at house parties and I would just be smoking weed and rapping, you know? And then I never really drank. Yeah. I never really drank until I was able to like go to the bar, you know? And then I started doing that. And then, yeah, so mixed with that, being on Whyte Ave, partying, rapping, going to shows, it was so alcohol based. All rap shows back then still are. I mean, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The parallel between drinking and making music is like so strong. You know, it's tough to be on the scene without a drink in your hand a lot of the time. And yeah, I've talked to different people about just kind of using sobriety and
I'm sure you have. Yeah.
Oh man, it seems like a popular thing for artists to kind of find sobriety and then focus in on something that they love. You know, and come back to hip hop, right?
It's like, I feel like just creative people in general, whether you paint or you know, even in construction, like what I'm doing, a concrete guy, masonry, there's so much creativity involved in everything. But the more creative I think your brain is, or the more artistic you are, you definitely have like a weird OCD or an obsession or something. If you really love it anyway, right? Yeah. And that obsession can be directed in like negative, shitty ways sometimes. Especially then you're also a human being with like life things that happen. So then you go through something hard and maybe that point in time, instead of therapeutically using your craft or your art, you go to the bottle and then you get away from that. And then it's like, but then you got to get back to it because it's always been in you. So that's where you hear frequently all those stories about like, I need something to fill my time. I need something to give me purpose. But if it's either going to be,
and man, you can hear a lot of that in your music, dude. Like a lot of what you're talking about is kind of that reality rap, like
I appreciate that
resilience rap. You know, like it's about surviving everyday life almost.
Especially now, and I try to do it. I appreciate that you like capture that or gather that from that, but I try to do it in such a way where some of the people that I look up to or are a big fan of that make this kind of introspective art, they do it in such a way it's clearly coming from personal experience, but it's not so literal in the sense where I'm just on a track like, mama, I love you, I never want to do wrong to you, you know, like it's not very literal. I want to make a song that portrays how much I love my mom and how much I don't want to hurt her, but I'm going to do it in such a way that makes you
a little bit less on the nose.
It's broad. Yeah. It's very broad. You can listen to the song and you can feel that way about your dog.
Yeah.
And then bump that joint and be like, this song makes me feel about how I feel when I'm whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's what makes good songwriting though, anyway. But
yeah, man, I think that's called being poetic to a degree. Yeah, right? Like putting a little bit of art into it and coming at it in a less surface level way. Right.
Like, how could I say this thing that's a personal feeling that's pretty general and almost cliche at points, but I want to do it in a creative way, another take on it.
I was just going to say, man, it's so popular in hip hop to talk about how, you know, like beat the struggles, you know, started at the bottom, came up through it or whatever. Like,
but doing it,
everybody's doing it in one way or another, kind of, right? But
in my opinion, the more literally you do that, the more corny you are.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's fair, man. I think a lot of people's lyrics are far too literal. You know, I won't throw shots at anybody specifically, but I think like a lot of rap just stays at that surface level because the only meaning in the lyrics is what the person is actually saying. Like it's just the one literal translation of it.
And don't get me wrong, some people can get away with that and have it be super dope, right? But has to be very natural and very far few in between. Like there's guys like Merce, you know Merce?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Living Legends.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
He's the most plain, blunt, literal dude. Zero metaphor, zero double entendre. Like he just straight up. But that's him. It really translates. And there's
it's not that it can't be done.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly,
just bluntly and on point like that. But yeah, I think some people are trying to just kind of cookie cutter it or whatever, and they think that that's the blueprint to follow to do it.
True.
Yeah, and you can hear that in the music or whatever, dude. But you can also hear when somebody's making art, right? And
exactly.
Yeah. I'd like to think that I could hear that in what you were doing, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I did want to ask though. So the last stuff was in like 2022. Did you take 2023? Kind of to get back to work, or like where have you just been out working too much to put more music out? Is there more music coming? What's up next?
No, so yeah, after I released the More Mr. Nice Guy, I got an opportunity. I haven't been up here working for that long, only about a year.
Okay.
So I got that opportunity to come up here. It's better money, you know, oil sands stuff. I have experience up here on and off throughout my whole life, coming in and out of just doing this kind of stuff. But I got the opportunity to come up here. It was a lot more money than I would have been making at my current job at that time. So I took that. Obviously, that comes with like a transition, a shift. Life is blah, blah, blah. But the whole time I have been working on a record. And this is perfect. This couldn't be more beautiful timing actually right now for me to speak with you, because
beautiful.
I literally just sent the record off right now that I have done to go get mastered.
Nice.
So that's what I've been doing for the whole time. New job, working on a new record, slowly but surely. This new record I'm putting out, it's going to be out April 6th, by the way.
Dope, man.
I haven't made a full-on post yet, but
does it have a title? You want to debut the title?
It does. It's called A Place in This World.
Dope, man. Yeah, looking forward to hearing that.
So that's what I've been doing, kind of slowly but surely.
When that pops up, I try to watch social media as best I can, but
I'll be making a post probably within the next week and stuff. I'm just doing details, flyers and stuff and all that, but yeah.
Right on, man. So I think it's fitting to ask you a little bit about that kind of work-life balance, and
dude,
you know how you kind of manage to work on music at the same time as paying the bills, right? I think it's something all artists struggle with.
Yep. I mean, I've always worked like blue collar jobs. This is what I've done, labor stuff.
Alberta.
Kind of done, Alberta shit. Yeah. I've kind of done a little bit of everything, but this is obviously where you can make the most money with the least amount of education. That's just the way it is. So I grew up that way. You know, my dad is a super blue collar guy. So I grew up, you know, you're tired at the end of the day. That's how you make money kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't mind it too. It keeps me in shape. It's good. I like it. I know what I'm doing. I can make decent money. And
I agree, man. Honestly, blue collar is beautiful. I've done a lot of blue collar work myself over the years living in Alberta. And it's always been like, why don't more people do this and make music on the side?
I was just going to transition into that. Yeah. Especially if what you really love to do is like make music, or because for me, it allows me, and I think I've just only been like leaning into having gratitude for this in the last little while since I've been more clear headed and sober and shit. But it allows me to kind of just have a job where I'm like, all right, I can pay my rent. My bills are taken care of. I look after my pet. My life is kind of in order. I have an income that's steady. I just go to work. I feel good. It keeps me in shape.
Yeah.
But I don't take any of that home with me. I have like two lives. and it works for me because just now, since I've been taking music more serious, I want to mesh them as much as I can,
Right.
which is busy and stressful, but like I'm trying to balance everything slowly but surely as much as I can, knowing that it's okay to have a job. I think a lot of artists get weirded out by, or even like embarrassed to admit that they have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And
I've
it
talked
weirds me
about
out.
that, man. Nobody ever raps about their day job. I mean,
It weirds me out.
They never even mention it.
Yeah. And like, I don't know if you mess with Blueprint, the artist from Rhymesayers.
Yeah.
He's got a podcast
Familiar.
called Super Duty Tough Work.
Yeah.
And him and Logic, those two guys, they talk about this stuff all the time. When I tune into some of their episodes, it's like they talk about this kind of same shit where it's like rappers want the time and the money to make their stuff, but then they also complain that they don't have the money or the money to promote themselves when they do make something even, or money to, press vinyl, or money to do this. And it's like, it's okay to work a job, to have that. You're already ahead of the guy who's just complaining and has FOMO, fear of missing opportunity. Bro, I'm making it might take a little longer, but I'm okay with the longevity game because at least I'm alive and I'm paying my bills, which in turn makes me happier. My girlfriend's happy. I'm not a broke ass. I got money. I can buy groceries. I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah.
And then every other minute of my day is spent just with friends and family and making music, period. And that's my life. Yeah. And I'm content that way. Do you know what I mean?
That's beautiful, man. That's a great balance. And the other thing that I was thinking when you were talking about blue collar jobs, dude, is that like a lot of them are monotonous to a point where for a lyricist, you can kind of stand there and run your lyrics, right? You can either be practicing shit for shows or you can be coming up with new shit a lot of the time, depending what the job site's like. But like I painted houses, so there was a lot of monotonous time just like standing there listening to music or whatever. The blue collar jobs are beautiful. I've told a lot of different artists that they should hold on to their day job and just do music as a side hustle.
Man. I used to, when I was real young, I used to be a shelf stalker guy at Zellers. Yeah. Like that was one of my first like warehousey kind of jobs.
Had friends that did
when
that.
I was like,
never did myself, but
all I would do all night long is just write rhymes on like cardboard.
Yeah.
Shit like that. And like, it. So yeah, no matter what. And learning throughout all of it as I get older too, almost the least amount of responsibility I could have at a blue collar job, it works better for me because I just know I just want to get my job done. Because if I can,
and the whistle blows and you go home, right?
Yeah. Like some people are like, oh, that's what a mundane existence. I'm like, nah, man, that's exactly what I want. It's all perspective.
It's only mundane if you go home and do mundane shit. If you use the other half of your life to do exciting shit, then that's the way to do it, man. Yeah.
And I think it's only mundane if you're mundane.
Yeah, exactly.
If you know what I'm saying, like if you have, and it doesn't even have to be something cool like music or like what's perceived as cool, or like you can just be a guy that likes to build little
have hobbies. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Just do whatever hobby.
Your whole house can be like little boats that you build, and then you go work at Best Buy, and then you come home. But your life, you're so, hey man, your rent's paid. You got water. You got heat. You can build your boats. It's so peaceful in your little crib. You know what I mean? Like,
and you can sit back and cross your arms and look at your life and say, "Oh, this sucks and it's so boring." Or you can do something with your free time to make it less boring, right? Like, and
just be grateful that you're content.
and that you have a roof over your head. And I mean, dude, people making like 30,000 Canadian a year makes them top 1% in the world. So like.
Man.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well,
right?
A lot of people.
But that balance. That it's been tough to like find the perspective and the gratitude. I'm not gonna lie, over the years, but with getting older, and just fully tapping into my gut and asking myself, what do I want? What is gonna make me happy? Because I used to be one of those guys too, where like, man, I can't have a job. I'm gonna miss out on this show. Yeah. What if a show comes up? How am I supposed to? I can't get time off. And you know how much more I've done for my art since I've been steady working and responsible in the last 2 years?
Because you can make some bank and then book time off and go do some shows or whatever, right?
You put in time and effort in any place. You get holidays. You get paid holidays. You get benefits. Your everything just gets better. You have money to put a record out. You have, and there's zero shame in that, man. I feel like until an artist can, I really just, it's everything.
Dude,
mean? Like,
the only other alternative I've seen, anybody with music out, they've either done it through getting grants or they've done it through, you know, doing the 50-50 life split where half of your life you're making money and the other half you're spending it making music.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's that's a real life struggle.
And then, you know what? I mean, I guess there could be a point where you start getting too busy with your music. I mean, isn't that the dream, or isn't that the goal, where you're like, man, I got too much shit going on here, I can't work. And then there's a risk. And then you could make a decision then, you know, or you just.
That's a good problem to have, that decision.
It's a good problem to have. That's a good problem to face. That's a good decision to come into, right? And then, or you can do it where, you know, your income is, you're making an extra 20 grand a year from selling merch and doing shows when you have to take your holidays to do a tour once a year.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? When you put out a record or whatever, it's like, it's okay to do all of that stuff, but still have, you know, what if you, because no matter what, one side is going to suffer. Like if you got a girl, you got a partner, you got a family, you got your art. It's like, you know, you don't want to give up either of those. I don't anyway.
There's only so many hours, right? Yeah.
There's only so many hours, dude. So how can I make sure that both are at least being fed without killing myself? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for real, dude.
So that's the only way. Yeah.
Man, how much of this are we going to hear about on your new album? Can we talk about what to look forward to on that new album? Is it going to be full length?
It's 9 songs, 9 tracks.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm really proud of this, man. It's like, sonically, the whole concept of it was started from deliberately not having a concept, like trying to just make something completely that I just think sounds dope and coming right from me, almost like finding my spot in this globe, you know. That's why the record's called A Place in This World. It's like, who am I here? What do I want to be here?
Is it self-produced? Did you make the beats?
Yeah. All self-produced. Yeah, nice. Everything is all me. Yeah. Dope. And that's kind of where it started from. And then it, as you go, when you make stuff and piece things together and cancel things out, add things in, it turns into it develops its own concept after a while and a theme, so to speak. Aesthetically, sonically, somehow it just does when you just work on shit, you know, which is a cool thing about making music. It's in itself. But
can I ask you, did you do a bunch more than 9 songs for it and choose the ones that fit, or did you do song by song and they came together into something cohesive?
I wouldn't say a bunch more, but definitely some more ideas or things, maybe not fully even fleshed out songs, but there could have been more that's either been trimmed like fat, or, you know, maybe something that had a different beat even that I was like, nah, that's not the beat after a while. I don't know. So definitely the way I make stuff too is I kind of have an idea early on about the each song. Like I don't really make 48 songs and pick 10, you know. Right. I'm not really that type of dude. Just that's personally how I work.
Yeah, I think some guys jump in the studio and just crank out, you know, a bunch of songs and then choose from the wreckage of what to put out.
Yeah, no, I definitely take a while to conceptually put together a message or a thing, a feeling that I'm trying to convey. And as I work on beats casually, daily and stuff, and just I don't really go out set to make something specific at first until it starts catching on. And then once things start catching, then I'm in it. And then it goes and goes and goes. So it's hard to even say if I've had a whole bunch. And then I just kind of, at one point I had an idea where these 9 concepts really fit well together for how I want to do it. And then I got beats for them. And then sometimes the beats that I had for them that I thought were really good aren't. And then I make another beat for this. And then I go back and forth. But then the whole time that kind of 9 concepts never changed. Right. It's just the music and the things around it and the ideas and the trimming fat
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. The execution then molds and bends and gets into what it is at the end. But once I'm locked into the entirety, I see it as an entirety. and I don't want to add more to it, and I don't want to take away from it. It's just changing inside. Does that make sense?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So lyrically, I mean, you said you make beats every day, so I assume you just have a vault of beats. And then when it's time to put lyrics to tracks,
Yeah.
you kind of mentioned that you'll come up with a concept before you actually start writing it all, and try to nail that concept. Then
Most times, it's, I guess it's kind of 50-50. Like, I wouldn't say every day I make beats, but I'm always just kind of messing around. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's in my head, or even if whatever, or then I'll go on and I'll try to, like, I'll find like a sample, or I'll find like a sound, or I'll hear a sound and I'll be like, oh, that'd be cool to do this. And then either that can lock me into like a melody. Cause I don't know if you've noticed too with my music, I really like hooks, but like melodic, not like in terms of like trying to be super catchy, but just like I'm a hook guy. I pride myself on writing dope hooks, I think.
yeah, man.
And that's part of the song where it usually starts for me, honestly, is like, this is what the song is. This is the feeling of it. This is the melody. And I'll do things like just hearing a sample. I might write an entire hook to that melody, but then when I actually make the beat, I'll use a completely different sample and mess with it to come up with almost that same melody now my head is in my head. Right. So it's very weird process, honestly. It's hard to describe, but then other times I'll not even have a beat. I won't even make a beat for a week or something. I'll just be working, and then something will happen in my life where I'll be like, that'd be a cool thing to convey, or just like that feeling. I could make a whole song about that, this, that. And so, and then I'll start to like come up with a verse, no hook yet, and then I'll have to dig for a beat for it that fits. So
when you're writing a verse, are you normally like sitting down only writing a verse, or are you type of lyricist who's writing, as you go about your day, line by line kind of too sometimes?
Definitely as I go about my day.
Yeah. And
it's usually all in my head, and then I'll come up with like, I'll go over the same 2 bars or something and like reword it and edit it in my head for like 8 hours in a day or something. And then finally get that 2 and then be like, okay, that's locked in. I want that there. And then I might write it down on my phone just so I don't forget it.
Right.
I'll have that 2 locked in, and then I'll build off of that 2. Very rarely, honestly, do I write like a full 16 in one go.
Fair enough.
It's just,
yeah.
It's kind of just how I do it.
I think probably a lot of MCs are that way at this point, just with the nature of everybody having the phone in their pocket and able to put a bar down here and there. I think it probably comes together like that.
Oh yeah. And I never used to be like that. I still have shoeboxes and shoeboxes full of like pads and papers and shit that I probably should get rid of now, but like so much. But now more so, I still, I still write down stuff, but now it's more so like I'll have a full 16 bar verse that I've worked out in my head over however long. Right. And then I find when I still write them all down, like deliberately, because I find when I write them on actual paper, it helps me memorize it.
Yeah. Yeah. The actual act of writing with your hand and a pen. Yeah. That makes sense. The
actual creating it out of thin air is my phone and just jotting things and taking it off. But then once I have it locked in, if I write it all out by hand a couple times in my book, then that just helps me memorize that locked in verse, kind of thing. I
forget where I've heard that advice, but I have heard that advice before for like practicing lyrics for shows or whatever. That I think it's like writing it is the equivalent of rapping it, I don't know, 13 times or something along those lines. Like it was
that makes sense.
Some ratio like that, for memory.
Makes sense.
Can I ask you, man, do you get more fulfillment on stage or from making the music itself?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I mean, right off the gate, I want to say they're equal, but if I'm being fully honest, probably on stage.
Yeah.
Because I love performing, and it's a big part that goes into the making of my music, honestly. Like,
kind of writing it so it's something good to perform.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I deliberately do that, but I think my style of it is just naturally that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like I set out to be like, I can't say this super dope bar because it wouldn't go good on stage. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think of it like that, where I'm only thinking of, oh, I can only make this if it's going to be good to perform.
Right.
But I think naturally my style of like how I make, or why, the reason I make music in the first place is very much so to blast it and entertain you and people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've always been that way, even since I was a kid. Like, I like attention.
The message is only so useful if nobody hears it, right? I mean,
yeah, like I want you to feel what I feel in making it. So I'm gonna, I remember the first time I had like a really good show. It was the coolest feeling in the world. It was like, not even for the attention, but just the feeling of like, wait, man, I did this, I made this.
Yeah.
And now all these people are like genuinely coming up to me and being like, that's so cool. What better feeling is there? Do you know what I mean? Like,
not many, man.
It's like
not many.
Complete validation for something that you are just like feeling like you not only want to, but need to do. You know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Can I ask, like, how did you get into music in the first place? I've been asking people because I've got a theory that most musicians have somebody from the generation above them who kind of took them under their wing at some point and got them into this music thing. How did it go for you, man?
My father is a really good guitar player. He's always been into music, played in bands and stuff. And I mean, my parents divorced when I was young, but my mom's also like, she doesn't play, she doesn't make music, but she loves music, like avid, heavy listener.
Yeah.
And knows all about it. Super 70s, you know, Steely Dan, Van Morrison, you know.
This all lines up with my theory perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah. All that kind of stuff when I was growing up. Hella 90s stuff even, you know, like, you know, modern rock more so now, and just alternative rock kind of stuff. That's what I grew up with my mom. My dad's more, you know, kind of bluesy funk guy-ish. There's a band called Little Feat. I'm not sure if you've heard of them before.
I'm not very familiar with a lot of bands, man. Yeah.
They're one of those bands where you can't even tell like what they do. There's just like 8 guys that play all sorts of instruments, and it sounds funky, but also rock, but also country, but also folk. So yeah, but lots of that stuff, folk music and stuff. But so I grew up with music, period. And then I was super into like Korn, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit when I was young.
Fuck yeah.
That era when I was like 11 years old.
Right.
Just like in your face. Like,
that shit hit for an 11-year-old, man. Yeah.
Bro. Yeah. Fred Durst at that time, when you were like 10, 11, you wanted that red.
You had to have the red New York hat, man. Yeah. Yeah.
So that era. But then I met my brother, my stepbrother, and he was also kind of into the same shit. ICP. You know, that kind of whole thing, Korn, ICP, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit. And then this is a cool story, actually. I'm glad I get to tell this. I'm glad you asked, because this is back in the days when you could, you know, still watch music videos, and you were excited to watch music videos on Much Music.
Right. They say they're still important. I don't know who watches them now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, you know those days.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Much Music. Yeah. When it was Much really Music fun. Rap City was the only place you hear new rap or whatever. At least up.
It was really fun to just sit there and watch and see what comes on next. But all In Together Now by Limp Bizkit came on, the one with Method Man.
Right.
It was like
Premiere made. That was the thing until you just mentioned it, but I remember that now. Yeah.
I forever to this day, I love that song. I listen to it all the time. It's such a dope fucking song. Premiere like took the beat from DJ. I can't remember who actually made the first one.
Damn, it has Method Man and it's a DJ Premier beat. I got to go back and re-listen to that. I remember that happened, but I didn't remember Premier did it. Yeah.
I can't remember the original, who made the actual original beat. I think it was it DJ Lethal? That was the guy in Limp Bizkit, I think.
Couldn't tell you.
He made this beat and it was like, it was good. Same sample, same kind of thing. And then Fred Durst wanted Method Man on the track. So then they hollered at Premier because Premier knew Method Man. And Method Man's like, yeah, okay, cool. You know,
Method Man's not shy. There's not much he won't rap on. That guy's still out doing a lot of features right now. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. He'll do anything. But then Premier's like, nah, that beat's whack though. Let me sauce it up, and then Method Man will get on it. So then Premier like put his swing, his like bat drums in it. You know how he's got those like, you can always tell that's a Premier beat just by the way that you move to it, right? So Premier sauced it up, and then Method Man got on it.
Premier's the GOAT in my mind, man. Yeah.
Oh, dude. When it comes to drums and just like simple beats that are like ridiculous, yeah.
Premier's, the vocal scratched hooks, man. It's just his signatures. All of them are just.
Oh yeah, yeah. He is rap. He is hip hop for sure. But so me, 11 years old, seeing that music video for that video with Method Man on the screen was like the beginning for me, because Method Man was like a superhero to me, and he had that vibe too, right? He like, you look at him the same way you look at Spider-Man or something. You're like, this guy's so cool. Like, I want to be like this guy. Why is he so cool?
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So Method Man was the first time when I heard him. What's that? I didn't hear you. Come on a little louder. Everybody in together now. Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Remember that?
Man. Yeah. Now I do that you sing it. Yeah.
So then I hear that on the thing, and I'm like, this is so cool. What is this shit? And then me and my brother we just like looked stuff up and started diving more into what Method Man is. And now we're into like Wu-Tang. Yeah. And now we're into like, okay, we're seeing all this. How do you make beats? And then shortly after that, Get Rich or Die Trying came out. And that record is the main record that made me want to start making beats, because now I'm mixed in
super
with
well produced album.
Yeah, dude. And like, to this day, it's one of my favorite records of all time, because hearing that record, so like once I dove into Method Man and Wu-Tang, and I'm in that world. And then obviously Eminem, everyone's a fan of Eminem growing up.
It's tough to miss him, but
you know. And then sorry, what was even the original question? I feel
it was about how you got into it, man. That was that was it. You nailed it. Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I'm just.
It's funny how parallel that was to how I got into it, man. Because I was listening to, I mean, you know, probably some hip hop a little bit more so than like Limp Bizkit and stuff. But I was aware of Limp Bizkit, and I can remember downloading Cream on LimeWire. And just like having the door open up and like, oh snap, the Wu-Tang Clan, and you know, it was like 2002 or whatever, still probably, but once those doors opened up, it takes you down a rabbit hole.
Started going down the route of more alternative hip hop, you know, like the Aesop Rocks and the fucking Weatherman and the Copyrights. And like all through there, even Blueprint, like Greenhouse, all the Rhyme Sayers guys went down all that route, and you know, really found that kind of like more artistic side of it, but still like loving dudes like Method Man and Common. You know what I mean? So I was always pulling from all that. It was like the only mainstream guys I liked were guys like Method Man, Common, Wu-Tang. You know, 50 Cent. And then also I was listening to Aesop Rock while I was listening to Common, and then, or like Slug while I was, you know what I mean?
There's a really like special breed of MC that gets to be both a pop star and like authentic hip hop that hip hop heads love. And guys like Method Man are exactly that Venn diagram. But man, I mean, I did want to ask you about like, you know, after spending this long in hip hop, do you think your style is still evolving? Like, is there new elements on the next album that we're going to hear, or?
Oh yeah. That's the thing with this record, even the title being A Place in This World too. Like I was saying, it's really, because the first project I put out since I've been sober, No Magic, was very just kind of like a breakthrough, or very personal, kind of like, you know, in my sobriety journey, so to speak. Like it was really like you said the word before, resilience album. It was really like, you can hear it on there. It's got a little bit of fun on it too. Like the Boiling Water track is just about literally drinking coffee and tea, but
and like, you still got funny bars even in the serious songs or whatever and stuff. Like there's still some levity to it, right? Yeah,
I still keep it cheeky sometimes and just whatever. But the message of the record, you know, as a whole, is definitely more, you know, resilience, and like you could push through stuff, and like you got to do stuff to be better, pull your pants out kind of thing. And then more Mr. Nice Guy was kind of the other side of that. It was like, now I feel like I'm actually healing, and I'm just trying to be a better person to my family, better person to strangers, better person to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So more Mr. Nice Guy
Title makes sense. Yeah.
And you can, yeah, and the reason it's kind of cool actually is the title of More Mr. Nice Guy. Usually the expression is no more Mr. Nice Guy.
Right.
Right? Like that means I've had enough. I'm really going to stand up for this. So I deliberately took the no out of it because I'm like, nah, more Mr. Nice Guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got to be
I'm a more
person.
nice guy.
I got to be a better person.
Yeah.
More Mr. Nice Guy. And then oddly enough, the no is in No Magic. So I like to think I just took the no from More Mr. Nice Guy and put it in No Magic.
Right.
So they're kind of linked, and No Magic is like me in it. More Mr. Nice Guy is like me coming out of the other side. And then this record, to go back to like your question, is me just, what I mean is I really thought about what I wanted those two records to be like before. I really made them for that. This one is just me making shit that I think is dope. Period.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's literally just me not thinking about anything and just being like, I'm just one person in this world. Where's my spot? I'm going to fucking show you. This is it. Beautiful. Through this music.
Yeah.
This is what I do. This is what I want to do. This is what I can do. And this is the beginning of what I think is going to be more of that. So I'm super proud of it. And it's literally just, it's definitely different from the other stuff on the two records, but it's definitely similar. It's definitely got similarities and like, but venturing too, like a little more singing. There's a little more music.
Yeah, when you said that you like a lot of melody on the hooks, I thought to myself, like, I can only remember there's one hook that you had like a female vocalist on there with you singing.
That's my girlfriend, or my fiance now, actually. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I mean, otherwise, like, yeah, there was melody, but not quite as singy as people might picture when you say that you like melody on your hooks a lot.
Which is this new record is a little more singy.
Cool.
And I mean, singy in the sense where it's not like rapping hooks. You know what I mean? Like even on More Mr. Nice Guy, there's more singing than No Magic. You know, it's just like, there's actually a cool thing. I can't remember exactly where I heard it. But they're saying like when you first start out, you are trying to imitate someone.
Right.
All you're doing is trying to be like them. In my case, like Method Man. I bet you when I was first starting to rap, especially because I got a raspy voice, bro.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah. And after 50 Cent did Get Rich or Die Trying, everybody was kind of singing hooks like that. I mean.
Yeah. So when you first start, you're trying to imitate. And then if you keep with it enough and you keep moving, then you get to sort of an emulation stage where now you got a little bit of your own thing going on, but you're just emulating what you love. What you can, it's like now I can put out a song, but you can hear that I listen to Common every day.
Right.
By the way I flow or my tone of voice or the shit I'm talking about or this. And then if you're lucky enough and you're super in love with this shit and you really want it and this is who you are and always have been, you will grow enough to get to the innovation stage.
And people then at that stage listen to your music and you sound like you rather than them saying, oh, this sounds kind of like Common or whatever.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Now that's going to be that's your shit. If you can get there, I feel like most people are stuck in that emulation stage. Yeah. You get past that imitation, but then you could be like, this motherfucker is just, think about how many people, because I listen to Spotify playlists randomly all the time. I love having music on in my house all the time. I just play shit. But then you can just sift through so much music that's like this, just, it could be just J. Cole sounding. Right. And it's just boom.
Yeah.
Or Drake sounding. It's just, everything sounds like that. Or like,
yeah, man. For my mix show, dude, I listen to like 9 hours worth of indie rap every week. And the amount of people that are sound-alikes, you know, that like you can't tell
like
apart.
Deliberate
it's
too,
tough.
It seems sometimes. It seems like it's deliberate sometimes.
Oh, it really is. I've worked with artists.
Right?
I've recorded guys who come in here and tell me, you know, I want to sound like Travis Scott. Like turn up the Travis Scott plugin as though that's a thing or whatever. And it's like,
kind of is, I guess, these days with AI.
I mean, you can look up a vocal chain or whatever, but I had to, show him that actually a vocal chain's going through an EQ and a compressor and various other effects or whatever. It's not just the Travis Scott dial here, but
the Travis Scott dial.
Just crank that one up. But it seems like a lot of artists are happy to do that, man. No,
it's true. It's true. It's funny.
Can I ask you, man? This is well, actually, know what? I want to go back. You mentioned that you're a producer first, right? That originally you were a producer. Do you make beats for other people? Like, are your beats out there with other people rapping on them, or is it kind of a you project?
It's mostly just for me. These days, I've been thinking about doing it more and more and throwing them out there. Actually, maybe even creating like a spot where you can like buy beats off me and shit, but it's mostly just for me and my brother, who also raps, like my stepbrother. I'm producing a record for him too, and mostly in the past it's just been for like homies, like just people I know or have rapped with before, like Karn Singh, Corvid, Lorax, and just guys that I grew up with or kind of playing shows with and stuff, but mostly it's just myself.
Right on, man. So there's a section here where I just ask kind of rapid fire, like how important is this thing or that thing? And you don't necessarily have to answer quickly. If you've got an elaborate answer for any of these, so be it. But if you also just want to say like, not very important, then feel free to do that too. But as a producer, how important is it? Don't get to ask this one to many people, but how important is it to have the right gear as a producer?
Not, in my opinion, not important.
Okay.
To a degree. Yeah. Do you want me to say why?
I mean, let me know. Sure.
The reason, I mean, obviously, what do you mean by the right gear?
Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of people feel like they can't make beats until they have this or that, right? Like there's something holding everybody back. Everybody's got this reason.
To an extent, I think true, because you need, you need something, even if it's 2 buckets.
Sure.
You need something, and if you have something in mind, cool. But I don't think that you should just limit yourself to like, or to where like fall into like a barracuda, because you're just going to the shiny thing. Right. It's like, I can't make a beat on Pro Tools because it's not Ableton. All what I know is just everyone's using Ableton at this point or whatever the fuck. And if I don't have that, I can't make fire shit. It's like, just get what you have access to. And then, because I feel like if you really want to do it for the right reasons anyway, you'll just learn whatever the fuck you got your hands on.
Yeah.
And you'll just make the shit. You know what I mean? Like,
if the drive is there, you'll get what you need to have, or what people say you should have too eventually.
That's the better answer. Use what you have access to and what is easy for you to get.
Yeah.
And your hands on and what you're able to grasp. If you go on Reason and you're like, I can't even see this shit. And then all of a sudden you try FL and you're like, oh, this makes sense to me. Then use FL.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like use what you can tap into naturally and then just dive full force into that. And don't let anybody be like, he uses FL. That's whack. It's like, nah, man, the finished product will speak.
Yeah.
For anything.
Somebody dope is going to be able to make something dope with whatever, if they
it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I think that's a better answer.
Yeah. I like that, man.
It's not important in the sense that you should just use whatever is accessible to you at the time and don't worry too much about what it is specifically. You know what I mean? Yeah.
How important is a good stage show for an MC? Or for you personally? That's the other thing, is you can answer this just like in general if you want to talk about like what other MCs should do, or just for yourself. How important is the stage show to you?
For myself, important, very much so. More so that I've been playing over the years. It just gets more and more where you're like, oh, okay, you see when you put more effort into it and you put more planning into it, you can see different results that are positive. So it's like, you don't care, they don't care. You care, they care.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of thing. And I've only noticed that coming from a guy that used to I've played sets that I don't remember. Do you know what I mean? So like,
might have been some freestyle bars in there. Yeah,
I can. Oh, dude.
Yeah,
there's straight up nights where I'm like, how did I even remember the lyrics to that song or whatever? But going through that experience, yeah, I definitely would say it's important. I can't speak for everybody, but I think that if you are going to want to play shows and perform your shit, I think you should definitely put care into how you're going to portray it to people and give people a show. They bought a ticket to see you, make it some sort of experience for them that they can take home with them. And I think that putting care into your show is going to allow you to do that,
Yeah, people can tell. People can tell when somebody's up there and they're unprepared, and they can tell when somebody's up there and they're prepared. Yeah.
If you care, they don't care, man.
Definitely, man. I like that. How important is it to get grants as a Canadian artist?
I don't know too much about it, honestly. I definitely maybe should explore it because there's maybe potential things that I'm missing out on. But again, I don't know a lot about it. I've always been the kind of guy too, like maybe I'm just stubborn. And like, if I can't do something, make something happen by my own two hands and my brain, then that means it's not real. But that's, again, goes back to old blue collar mindset guy shit.
I was just going to say, man, I've always been the same mindset. It's like, well, apply for grants. I'm just going to pick up a shovel and pay for this shit myself. Whatever I got to do.
I'll just save up for 6 months to put a song out, or something like,
yeah.
So again, I'm not against that. I think it can. Maybe not. I don't know how enough about it to say it's important or not, but I think it definitely can be beneficial. I don't know.
For real, man. Yeah. How important is having a DJ or a hype man for a stage show?
DJ, definitely, 100%. I've always loved performing with someone like a DJ who you can work with though, in sync with them. There's nothing like that too, man. When you guys rehearse together even, or when you kind of just have chemistry in the first place.
When they know the songs to the point where they can drop beats out and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. And they can like cut in certain spots or just like, they just know, and you're kind of in sync. Yeah. And so I think a DJ as a rapper, if you're just like a solo act as a rapper, is important. And I think it's important to incorporate your DJ with the crowd. It's not just like some guy that's playing your beats in the back.
Yeah.
I think it's important to make it so that people look at it like it's you too. Yeah. If it's just you on stage and a DJ, you want the crowd to be like, it's us up here. You know what I mean? Hype man, I've never really been, I play shows with my brother all the time. So we were both rapping on stage together, and there's a cool kind of vibe that comes with that, where like I finish his stuff, he finishes my stuff. Yeah. It's more of a duo kind of thing going on,
right? Yeah.
As opposed to a hype man, but I don't think it's important to have a hype man. I think it's important to have a DJ though, if you're a rapper.
Yeah, man. I like those answers. Those make sense.
Yeah.
How important is it to open when big name rappers come through town? A lot of these are, there's no right answer, right? It's just opinions here. Yeah.
I personally don't think it's that important unless it's somebody that, I don't think it's that important, because I think a lot of people do it for weird reasons, or just like weird clout reasons, or like they think that because, Raekwon's coming to town and they're going to get a spot, all of a sudden this means that they made it or something.
I think a lot of acts don't know that there's a different way that you can do it,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that's the only way they're going to get in front of a crowd.
True.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Independence. I think you can just call up a bar and be like, yo, I want to throw a show. Just to put that out there to everybody.
That's what I was just going to get into.
Yeah.
And also I think, for me personally, maybe this is coming from learning and playing lots of shows in the past, but for me personally, if you're taking it serious in the first place, you have to understand that you are a brand.
Yeah.
Right? You're an artist. You are you, though. There's no other you. You want to create that and push that out and fit that. And sometimes it's kind of counterproductive in a weird way for me personally. Whereas like, you heard my music. I have no business being on a bill with Lil Pump when he comes to Edmonton. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, bro, even if you reached out to me and were like, do you want to open for Lil Pump? I'd be like, you know what? Super appreciate the opportunity. It's not for me, man. I'll go to the show.
Yeah, but the crowd's probably not going to feel it. You know, they're not ready for that.
Just because it's an opportunity doesn't mean you have to take it. You have to think about your own brand, who you are, what you want to portray. Totally. So that's why I think, in terms of it's as important for big names when they come in, hell yeah, if it fits and you're a fan of them, fucking rights, that's important. That's like an ideal situation for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but not just grabbing anything just to say that, yo, I'm doing big things. I'm opening for Lil Pump.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
post a picture on Instagram standing beside him for the 2 minutes you met him.
White kid who makes weird rap music. What are you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's not, I don't think it's important for whatever goal you have necessarily to open for big name, unless you're a fan of them and unless it's the vibe. You know what I mean? Then it is important.
Yeah, man.
Like I just did that actually. Sorry to.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Who'd you open for?
Homeboy Sandman.
Oh, nice. Edmonton. Yeah, I did see that show actually. I forgot that you were on that bill, but yeah.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing though. I just reached out. I found out who brought him here. I literally sent him like a professional message on Instagram in his DMs, like, look, man, here's a link to my music. Been a big fan of Boy Sam for a long time. I feel like I would fit this bill really well. We can make this night even better. I could be a contribution. What do you think? Let me know. He's like, hell yeah. Never worked with me before. Put me on the bill. It turned out to be an amazing show. And
that guy's dope as fuck, man. I haven't been listening to his newest stuff as much as I used to, but like 15 years ago, I was super into Homeboy Sam.
Oh yeah, and he's such a nice dude too. Like very, very personable, very humble, authentic type of dude, man. Like that's what I mean. Like I'm a big fan of him. So.
And that bill actually makes sense.
It makes sense.
Having you on there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How important is it to write songs that fit current trends?
I guess it's important if you value like going viral and stuff, or if it's all where your value is or what.
Yeah,
what
and how famous you're trying to be, right?
I think, yeah, right. Yeah. Or what you think. I don't know. I mean, it's hella important if you just want to make a joint that'll go have its moment, 15 minutes and maybe that's what you do. Lots of people do that on TikTok. There's so many rappers that are like caking off of doing these things. Yep. They're just following what this is and making musics that pinpoint and pull from every single hot topic and trend, and that's a whole thing, and it's like a whole genre now, dude.
And I'm still waiting to talk to somebody who's so TikTok famous that when I ask them how important is a stage show, they're going to be the first person who's like, it doesn't fucking matter, just make TikToks. Like because it pretty much has a stock answer. It's important to have a good stage show, unless you're the guy who goes viral on TikTok. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's a hard thing for me to talk about too. Just I never bash it because like it is what it is, and I value what I value. I know who I am, but I'm not that dude. And I think honestly, it sounds cliche and like whatever, but I'm going to be doing this shit whether there's eyes on me or not, because it feeds my soul. Yeah. Do I want people to know about it? Do I want people to? Would I love to make a living off of it? Do I want the attention? Do I want the validation? Yes.
Yeah.
Who doesn't with anything?
Hell yeah, man.
But I think that it's just where your value lies in what you do, man. And it's very easy for people to just get into it and they don't really care. They just want to be that guy. Everyone wants to be the guy,
Dude, we're hitting the hour mark here. So I don't want to, keep you overtime if you don't want to be here, but I do have some more questions. I'm happy to talk if you want to keep answering a couple more of these how important questions for me.
Sure. We can do a couple more. What time is it?
It's 9:00 right now.
Okay.
Give me another 10 or 15.
Sure.
Minutes. I mean, yeah. Cool, man. How important is an MC's fashion?
Fashion,
yeah. There's opinions all over the board on that one. Yeah.
I would say not important because, again, I think fashion or to me anyway, per my opinion, it's subjective, just like art. Obviously, there's like bars and there's levels, and just again, just like art, it is subjective, but there is,
Yeah.
certain levels to this shit that are high and cool and not.
For real.
I don't think it's important because I think just being yourself is the most important. And some people are really, really, really into trends and fashion, and they rock. They want the newest stuff. They know how to dress. They do this, but because it's genuine, it looks good.
Right. Yeah.
Some people, if you're not that guy, don't do that thing.
Don't put it on if you don't normally put it on. Yeah.
Like, bro, don't be wearing the thing if you are not genuinely like into it.
That's
like or
advice,
like
man.
follow that shit. You know what I mean? Like my girlfriend's really into it. And so you can tell that when someone is genuinely, they like it. It doesn't mean that they're just following the trends. It's like, no, they're interested in it.
Yeah.
So when they do it, it looks like natural. But if you're just a guy, like do what is natural. And then isn't that how fashion becomes fashion in the first place? People are just,
I think so. Yeah. Somebody doing their own thing becomes popular, and then
the other
people
the other people that have a hard time being themselves look at the people that are being themselves and be like, that's cool. I want to be like that person.
Totally.
That's like what the shit is.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Dude, how important is pressing vinyl? This is another one I get answers all over the board for.
I think it's important, especially if it means something to you, to have like physical, tangible things to do with your music. To a degree, though, because I think it might not be as smart unless you have like a developed enough of a fan base to push the stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I do know, and I've been in situations too, even I went through it, making merch for No Magic and stuff. I not really experienced with it, made a whole bunch of t-shirts, sold 10 at a show, spent a gazillion dollars make it, you know what I mean? So I think before you know shit's gonna move, and it's not like you can really do small runs of vinyl, like
that's the thing. Yeah.
It's like you can't get 20 copies pressed and be like, hopefully I sell these. So I mean, it's important, I think, because it's cool. It's cool as fuck. It's tangible. It's means a lot, but not as important if you're just trying to build. I think there's other things to focus on before you want to go pressing vinyl.
For real, man.
As opposed, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of wrap-up questions here.
Yeah, man.
This one I want to go real big picture. I decided I'm going to start asking everybody this one, but be as brief or elaborate as you want with your answer. If you could change one thing in the world, big or small, what are you changing?
One thing in the world.
Yep.
Big or small. Ooh, that's tough.
Right? It leaves the door open if people want to tell me about what's wrong with society, but it's also like, they keep fucking up my order at Tim Hortons. They should figure it out. Whatever you want to say, man.
I'm trying to think like on topic with music, just because that's where my head is right now. Fuck, I can't even.
Oh yeah, how about that? How about if it was one thing about hip hop? Change one thing about hip hop.
I think it would be that you had to like I sound like such an old head gatekeeper guy by saying this, by the way. But like,
I was gonna say I'm setting you up to sound like an old head here for sure.
Yeah. But like the same way you would have to like go through a sort of a initiation or something, or some sort of like to be a police officer or to be a Navy SEAL, you got to like show that like you're in this for the culture.
Some sort of criteria to meet.
Yeah, some sort of thing to be like, nah, man, this guy's legit. He's gonna add to the culture that we're trying to maintain and push here and love being a part of. He's not just in it to for personal gain or something. Like some way to screen that.
That's funny, man. I have a question on my list of questions that's does hip hop need gatekeepers? And I never ask anybody it because it's setting them up to sound like an old head.
No, it's true.
But you just kind of said it does. Yeah.
Yeah. There's probably other more like minuscule things I could have answered that. It's just because my head's in music right now. But
for real, man. Yeah.
But I heard this one guy say too, he was like, He's like, it's kind of like less gatekeepers now, the way the internet is and the way the music is. There's big ones, there's big gates, the big massive gates to keep.
Right.
But he's like, there's kind of because anybody can just do
anybody
anything.
Who wants to can record the song in their bedroom.
So
and
there
put
isn't
it on
really
Spotify.
any gatekeepers anymore. There's only big massive gates.
But that's why we get watered down, right? That's why
exactly. That's the saturation.
I listen to
that comes
4
from.
hours of sound-alikes every week.
He was like before, yeah, exactly. Before he was saying something like before you could listen to, or everyone was trying to get their 15 minutes of fame. He's like, right now it feels like everybody's fighting for the same 15 minutes, which I thought was a good point.
Yeah, totally.
It's like there is only 15 minutes and every fucking rapper's fighting for that 15 minutes.
For real.
And he's like, and there's just not enough time in the day.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Dude, okay, so wrap up questions that I ask everybody. Can you describe your local hip hop scene?
Currently?
Yeah. Or over the years, however you want to do it, man.
I think it's like a hidden gem.
I would agree.
Like when it's popping, and it does pop because people are doing things, and there's lots of cool shows happening all the time.
Yep.
But it's like, yeah, hidden gem is the only way I could describe it.
I like that. And there's a lot of talent in Edmonton. It just maybe is moving in all different directions sometimes.
There's a lot of talent. It's just not cohesive. It's not moving like you would see in another place where it's like, this is us. This is our community. This is what we do. It's kind of just, it feels like there's like 40 scenes, but it's super dope. They're all super dope, but there's like 40 scenes within one that's just trying to be one. So it can never be one because there's like 40 scenes.
I think it's a unique problem to Edmonton too. I ask people that question from other cities and they're like, oh, there isn't really much of a hip hop scene in Hamilton or whatever, like.
See, and it's such a weird, unique problem to have because there's
several going on. Yeah. I was asking several. Yeah. I was asking Epic about like, why would the guys from Locution Revolution be doing a freestyle night on Thursdays? There's already a Thursday freestyle night, but I mean, having too many freestyle nights is a good problem for a hip hop scene to have, really.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Can you name some artists from your scene that people should be up on?
Yeah, man. Let me see here. I mean, it's tough because again, a lot of dudes that I would even mention, I don't even know if they rap anymore.
Fair.
Stuff like that. And then honestly, I'm not tapped into it as much.
Into the new stuff that guys are still making? Okay.
I really am not. I've been focusing on my own stuff kind of relentlessly for the past few years and just making that I'm not super tapped in. I don't really go to open mics. I'm either like playing curated shows that I've set up or like jumping on bills with like different artists that come here, or I'm working in the lab. I don't really tap in too much, so I don't know, but
or you're working on the frozen tundra. That as well.
Or I'm up here.
I named the stream, you're the hardest working MC in Edmonton.
Like literally.
I mean, he's actually at work camp right now. So any plans for shows or tours coming up that we can tell people about?
Yeah, man. Again, I haven't made the post yet, but I will be. But April 6th, I'm having an album release party. Okay. So dope. There's no flyer out yet, but I will be posting on social media within the next week or so here.
Nice.
I don't mind throwing that date out. It is what it is. It's locked in now. It's at Dive Bar, April 6th. It's a Saturday.
Nice.
It will be the release party / show for this record place in this world. And I'm super stoked for it.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a good place to do
it's a dope spot. They have really great sound, good people in there. That's where I opened up for Homeboy Sandman. I really got a feel for it. And I'm like, oh, this is a cool little, like you could tell that they love music. It's that kind of spot. You know what I mean?
Has a sound man who's on point and
Well, yeah, I remember talking with the guy that like the event coordinator dude, and he's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "I won't even hire a sound guy who doesn't like make music himself or like do something involved in it, right? Because and that shows when you're in that place." And I think it's just a cool little spot. It was never like that. It was literally just like a weird dive bar on Jasper Ave for the longest time. And now it's hella music focused, and you can tell that they give a shit about live music, you know, which is cool.
Good. Yeah, Alberta needs more music venues. It's been tough on the music venues,
but just music focused ones.
Yeah. What's the best way for people to support you or other artists that they like?
I mean, right now I'm trying to get my website going. I'm going to start online shop. I'm going to have a whole bunch of merch. Following the release of this record, I'm really starting to push that business side of it more personally. Right. But right now, I'm all over Instagram. Always, you could just give me a follow. Be tuned into everything that I am doing. That's the best way to do that. This is Jimmy Burnett work.
Right.
On Instagram.
Man. That was the final question. Where can people find you on socials? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's it. Jimmy Burnett work at Perfect. Jimmy Burnett work. 2 T's.
I noticed you're one of the few rappers, other than myself, who's on Threads yet. Do you use Twitter? Do you use Threads? Did you jump ship?
Just Instagram, man.
Okay, no, fair enough.
I haven't really posted on the Threads thing. It's cool. I just haven't really got into it.
Yeah,
but
fair enough. It's still small, but it does seem to be gathering momentum. I see more and more hip hop voices filtering in there.
Yeah, but I'll start throwing some thoughts out on it.
Yeah,
in the future.
Right on, man. Thanks for sharing thoughts with me tonight. Dude, it was fun talking to you. I enjoyed this.
Thanks, bro. Likewise. I appreciate it.
So we'll get the audio coming up after the Smoke is Clear mix, and probably the video should be up by next week. I'll get that to YouTube.
Word, man.
Send you links and stuff. But thanks for doing this, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I see you in real life in the future.
Yeah, hell yeah. Soon. I'll let you know if I get up to Edmonton. All right, man. Peace.
Yeah, man. All right. Peace. Love.
There we go. That's what I meant to do. So there are more Fly Information interviews coming up. Whether there will be one next week remains to be seen. I left a couple dates in early March open for a few different acts, and we're still trying to line things up there, but there are more interviews coming for March and April. I'm already all solid booked. So soon, like Jimmy just said, if you follow me on social media, it's at Doobyis with an _ after it on IG. But probably I'm the one you'll find if you type in at Doobyis anyways. But I'll probably make the post over there when I actually have the schedule set up and made pretty. But until then, hit follow on the channel. I do these things Tuesday nights, and looking forward to a bunch of the people who I do have booked, and I'm looking forward to potentially talking to the other people in the early weeks of March. And thanks for coming by, everybody. I don't know, if you don't know, I guess I'll plug After the Smoke is Clear. That's the name of my independent hip-hop mix show. Me and my friend DJ Dice do a new episode, hour-long, unedited every week. It's all new release Canadian music. Like I was telling Jimmy, I listen to a ton of new release independent music every week from across Canada. Choose what I actually like, send that over to Dice. He plays what he also likes, and we do what I'd like to call the best hip-hop show in Canada, I think. I like to make that declaration. We won the award for it one year. There's a bunch of other good hip-hop shows in Canada, but I mean, if you don't like your own shit the best, you should probably step it up. But thanks, everybody. It's been fun.